Deputy President William Samoei Ruto tells us that the nomination of Martha Karua as Raila's running mate means nothing. In fact, it spells danger. Because Karua is going to dismantle and destroy our precious constitution. She has already been given the job to do precisely that. That's what the Deputy President is telling us. And indeed the same constitution that the Deputy President fought against very hard, campaigned countrywide for that constitution not to be passed. The same constitution that has protected him in his position as Deputy President, even as very serious political differences have arisen between him and his partner in the presidency, his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta. But then some politicians are just like that. That is normal to them. That set of events I've described, it's very normal. Nothing wrong with it. I tend to hold a different view. Anyway, that is the view of the Deputy President. But what is the truth? What is the real impact of the nomination of Martha Karua? What is the reaction we're already getting on the ground? And can that reaction be translated into actual votes? And if indeed it can be turned into votes, how many votes are we looking at? Will it tip the scales in the presidential race? Those are the questions I take head on my show today. Karibu sana. The late Njenga Karume once made a very insulting remark about Martha Karua, focusing on where she hails from, Kirinyaga. And indeed that is captured in my classic ebook, Let the Blood Flow, which is still available. I believe you can see the offer on your screens right now. Very special offer. Rush and take advantage of it. So what did Njenga Karume say exactly? What did he mean? What led him to say what he said, which was not flattering? Find out on my show today. We need to go deep and answer the following simple question. Just how widespread and how impactful is the recent appointment, or rather nomination, of Martha Karua as Raila's running mate and Deputy President designate? Actually, the answer to that question is more obvious than many of us, or rather some of us, especially UDA supporters, would want to admit. Because we all saw it with our own eyes. The entire nation called Kenya broke into celebration at the announcement of Karua as Raila's running mate. All over the country, every corner of the country, people were calling each other, with joy, asking each other if they had heard. That kind of impact, that kind of reaction can never be stage managed, as some UDA supporters and leaders are desperately trying to convince Kenyans, and in the process confusing Kenyans, to the extent where some people are refusing to believe what we all saw. Of course, there was one exception to this rule. In Ukambani, the mood was not so jubilant. And somebody stage managed a kind of protest. I'm not naming names, but it's rather obvious. However, because I hail from the Kamba Nation, deep inside the Kamba Nation, I personally know many women who understood what had just happened and were delighted. Indeed, if you saw the celebrations in Kirinyaga, that's Martha Karua's home county, you would have been forgiven for believing that actually Martha Karua has won the presidency. Yeah, that's what it was. So let's just break this down, so that we understand exactly what it means. Now, women voters in every single election in Kenya, since the 90s, have been the majority in every single election held in Kenya. I've heard the figure thrown around of 51%, that 51% of the voters in any election are always women. But I tend to doubt that figure. I would put it higher. Anyway, let's just go with 51% for now. With Karua on the Azimio ticket, we can confidently predict that she will get a huge percentage of votes from women across the country. That is, women who understand what it means to have a deputy president for the first time in Kenya being a woman. Many people don't know this, but the Kenyan economy is run by women. Just think about it a little deeper. Mama Mboga is a woman. The major contribution to homes across the country, to businesses across the country, is done by who? A man? No. It is women who run our economy. And in the past, women usually shy away from voting for fellow women. I've said that before on this channel. That is true. Unfortunately, wanawake udharau wanawake wenzao. That's just nature, human nature. However, I want to refer you back to what happened in 1997, when we had a very strong woman candidate running for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. Her name is Charity Ngilu. She had a political party then known as the Social Democratic Party, heavily funded by the Americans. But that's a story for another day. Now, Ngilu gave a very good account of herself, considering that she had only been in politics for 5 short years before these elections. She was first elected as a member of parliament in the year 1992. And here was 1997, and she was vying for the presidency. I believe she came in 5th with a very respectable amount of votes right across the country. Now, where did those votes come from? You guessed it. Ngilu, in her strategy, and indeed in a strategy birthed by her donors, if you know what I mean, targeted women across the country and women organizations across the country. And the result was impressive. So we have evidence that women may shy away from voting for another woman, but when a fellow woman vies for a seat that a woman has never vied for before, everything changes. And we saw that in 1997. Now fast forward to the present. A vast majority of Kenyans recognize the fact that Martha Karua has a very high chance, a very great possibility of being our next deputy president. And they also understand what that means for the women of Kenya. I think now those of us who are doubting Thomases are beginning to understand the full impact of that master stroke by Raila Odinga, Agwambo, the mysterious one, the man who always manages to pull a rabbit out of the hat when you think it's all over for him, or when you think things are not going his way. Yeah, this man's reputation is not for nothing. So that's what Raila has managed to pull off with one appointment, not two, one. Folks, this thing has changed the game, because right across the country, you can be sure that many Kenyan women will opt to vote for Azimio only because of Martha Karua. Yeah, let's put aside Raila Odinga's popularity. Riding on Martha Karua alone, Azimio has a very good chance. Let's just put Raila out for a minute and analyze this. With just Martha Karua, Azimio has a very good chance of winning the elections. And that is why you should believe those who are telling us that the 2022 presidential race has already been decided. It's all over. Hiyo maneno imeisha. Tuangalie maneno ingine. You know, I've been saying all along on this channel that the strategy of the Deputy President, and even the way he's campaigning, focusing on the Mount Kenya region, focusing on a few places, not really campaigning very hard countrywide. That strategy suggests that this is not a candidate who wants to win the presidency by getting the most votes. No. This is a candidate who has another agenda. And I've said that that agenda is to force a government of national unity. Now, to pull that one off, you need substantial amount of votes. You need votes which are close enough to the actual winner, to be able to complain and people take you seriously. If the winner wins by a landslide, your plan can't work. And the introduction of Martha Karua imeharibu mahesabu ya Kenya Kwanza. That is the truth. In fact, I believe the Kenya Kwanza chaps wish that it was possible to withdraw a deputy president nominee and replace them. Because if it were possible, you can be sure that Kenya Kwanza would have nominated a woman, so that at least they can try and play catch up with Team Azimio. The other very important fact that we need to take note of, and I've already had other political analysts bring it up, analysts I respect, like Professor Herman Manyora, and this is the fact that Martha Karua is more than capable of mounting her very own Azimio campaigns. Hey, now you know what this means? It means that Azimio can split into two groups to cover more parts of the country quicker. It means that those parts of the country where there are people who cannot stand Raila Odinga for reasons best known to themselves, those people can now be reached with the Azimio message, because they are more than interested in listening to Martha Karua. Folks, I totally agree with those who are saying it is all over. The 2022 race for the presidency is done and dusted, because that is the truth. Now, we all need to be very careful not to drink in propaganda, and drink in things which are half-truths, designed to make somebody look better than they really are. Let me explain. You know, one side of the political divide are very good at shooting down things. Okay? They shoot down things, they're very good at that. And they're also very good at making promises. Okay? Now, in politics, both are acceptable. It is true, politicians all over the world, in a campaign, will shoot down the other side, while they also make promises. However, successful candidates don't focus on those two alone. Successful candidates focus on their credentials first and foremost. Who are they? Where are they coming from? What have they done in the past for the country? What is their track record? Yeah. In Kenya Kwanza, they hate history. Yeah, because history will reveal the truth about their track record and what they did. Yeah, therefore they tell Kenyans, don't give us history. Tell us what you're going to do for us. And this is where I'm going with all this. Martha Karua is not perfect. She has done some things in the past which can raise eyebrows. She has done some things in the past which did not make her look very good. And so I'm sure you've already heard various stories about Martha Karua's past. For instance, her behavior and her actions during the very unfortunate 2008 clashes. Now, the simple question I'd ask those who are talking about Martha Karua during the clashes is the following. Okay, you've told us 1, 2, 3 about Martha Karua during 2008. Can we also be allowed to ask about your candidate, William Samoei Ruto? What did he do in 2008? What action did he take to save Kenyan lives? What was his role in the 2008 clashes? That is a good counter question. Because we cannot judge one candidate on a different scale from our own candidate. If we want to judge the opposing candidate, we must use exactly and precisely the same scales, the same measure as we use for our own candidate. This is why the Wazungu have a very good saying. If you live in a glass house, please, don't throw stones. It is dangerous. Remember, you're in a glass house. You should be allergic to stones. You'll break the glass. Now, the truth about Martha Karua's role during the 2008 clashes has been captured in a few passages in my book, Let the Blood Flow. For example, it would seem that there were many within PNU, deep inside PNU, who were against Martha Karua. To cut a long story short, their beef with Martha was that she was too ambitious. And she was a woman. True story. For instance, the late Njenga Karume, who was very close to Kibaki, made some very disrespectful remarks about Martha Karua. Yeah, referring to her as let the toilet cleaners. Now let me just explain further. Before independence, a lot of the people employed at the then Nairobi City Council were from Kirinyaga. Yeah, and most of the Africans employed by the NCC used to do very dirty jobs like cleaning toilets in the city. And therefore, there was this perception that most of the toilet cleaners of the NCC, Nairobi City Council, were from Kirinyaga. And that tag stuck for those who were against Kirinyaga. Indeed, in the Mount Kenya region, people have always looked down on people from Kirinyaga. And yet they're very hardworking people. Wanachapa kazi kweli kweli, but they've been looked down on. I think now you're beginning to understand a little more what all those wild celebrations in Kirinyaga were about. This particular area of Kenya has never been given the recognition that it deserves. And now for the first time, they have a daughter who stands a very good chance of being the second in command in the Republic of Kenya. That's quite something, isn't it? Anyway, I would strongly recommend that you do your best to catch Let the Blood Flow, my classic ebook, based on the 2007 presidential elections and the 2008 clashes that followed. that traumatized and still traumatize so many Kenyans to date. I believe you can see details on your screens right now on how to get hold of that ebook. And of course that means that you'll be also sitting pretty to receive the videos or the video version of this ebook, which will only go to those who have purchased the ebook. So even if you're not a reader, I would highly recommend that you rush and take advantage of this great offer, so that when the video is released, which will be very soon, I believe, you will be able to take it all in video format. Folks, mambo yamebadilika. Things have changed in Kenyan politics. The mood has changed. The emotions are changing. And because of those two factors, the elections are decided. Until next time, this is Kshs Kumekucha.